Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Visor. In today's video, I'm going to show you a chess miniature happened in Shenzhen Loggang Chess Masters, and it was round number 1 and it was played between Anish Giri and Vladislav Artemiev. Without much delay, let's get started. With the white pieces, Anish Giri starts the game with 1 e4 and we have the Roy Lopez on board. So bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, all are common stuff. The Morphy's defense here. Knight f6, castles, and then bishop e7, denoting the closed Roy Lopez here. And here Anish had the chance to play rook e1, which is the main move, of course. But in this game, he played pawn to d3, which is Martinez variation. And pawn to b5, cutting off the bishop's diagonal because of the tactus on e5 square. So pawn to b3, castles by Artemiev, and then we have a4, trying to take advantage of the undefended rook in the corner. Rook to b8, a takes b5, a takes b5, and then knight develops onto the natural square. In other variation of the Roy Lopez, or in the most of the variation, the knight wants to go to the f5 square via knight bd2, knight f1, and then knight g3, and then knight f5. But in this particular variation, knight c3 is the main move to control the center, especially you have extreme control on d5 square. So we have a lot of time to move the knight, because this knight has to move and then only they can either play c6 or c5. So it will take a lot of time. So pawn to d6 and then h3, stopping any bishop spin here. Pawn to h6, bishop e3, and then rook e8. So here Anish completes his development with queen to d2, forms the battery, and also connects the rook here. So bishop e6, and he trades off the light square bishop here. So bishop into e6, f into e6, and then so here, as you can see, the knight was developed to control the center. But now there is no point in having the knight in this to control the center. It's because the e6 pawn is taking care of the d5. So that is like a useless knight sitting on c3. So you want to reroute that. So knight e2 was played by Anish and looking to go to the knight g3 ideas. So queen to c8, just covering a6 as well as taking care of this weak pawn e6 square. And here Anish goes with his plan, knight to g3. So this is like move number 16, and in the next, you won't believe this actually, in the next 5 to 7 moves, the game is going to be over. But till this point, the game is completely equal. There is no problem. After knight g3, Vladislav Artemiev, the typical or the signature move in the Roy Lopez as well as in the Italian opening, where you reroute the c6 knight and pave the way for the c pawn, which is sleeping at the home square, right? So considering that idea, he played knight to d8, but this is a huge blunder in the game, and this is completely winning for Anish now. And if you want to pause the video and try to find the winning combination, it is not like Anish is going to win the game just in one move or a couple of moves. It is going to be a long run, but you have to find a good sequence to hold the bigger advantage so that your opponent is going to resign. So here knight to d8 is blunder, because you don't have much of the defender along the king side, and it will be very difficult for you to involve the pieces to defend the king. And if you ask what could be the right move, so the right move in this position was to play either you see the problem on king side, you see white is organizing all the pieces to go for an attack on the king side, so you need more defenders on the king side, or you just move the king to a safer square. Say for example, king f7, king h7, bringing the rook into the play. That could be an idea. Or even bishop to f8 is a fine move to consider. But in the game, he played knight to d8, and Anish went for this bishop sacrifice, that is bishop into h6, a beautiful or a brilliant bishop sacrifice. So if you ask why we should accept the sacrifice, if you do not accept, say for example, this knight has created the problem, right? Let's say this knight come into the play, knight f7 hits the bishop e3, and then you play pawn to c5. So you can cut off the bishop's diagonal, but however, we can simply put the rook on 7th rank, and once you play bishop to d8, let's say, and then the other rook is joining the attack. And the point is that you don't have enough compensation as black, you lost a pawn for nothing. So that is why here Artemiev takes up the challenge by accepting the bishop sacrifice and inviting the queen to h6 square. And here after knight f7, the queen is hit, obviously. Queen to g6 check, and then king to f8. Somehow if imagine the bishop is not there, the king can simply go to e7 and then he can hide. But the problem is the bishop and the rook is cutting off all the escape square for the by the king. So here there are two moves, or only two moves are there for you to continue the attack. One of them was to play knight to g5, and another choice was knight to h2, knight to h2, and that was played in the game actually, knight to h2. It is kind of a slow approach, and knight to g5. This is like you have to you have to calculate with a precise, because say for example, this is actually a sacrifice again. You lost already a bishop. You have to remember that how many pieces are you going to sacrifice here. It's because you are going to sacrifice two knights to attack the king. It's because again the king stuck in the f file. I want to open up the f file to attack. Say for example, if you take, you should not recapture the the knight and lose the game. So if you capture king f7 and then it is over, okay, you cannot do anything here, okay. But rather you play this brilliant move again, that is pawn to f4, hitting the knight, and the knight goes back, and you put the another knight for free, knight h5. Once black takes, because you are threatening mate actually, once black takes, you don't recapture the knight again, rather you play this move, f into e5, opening up the f file for the attack, and that is a made in one thread, so you have to give up the piece back, like bishop f6, e into f6, and the knight is the one guard who is guarding the g7 square. Say for example, you activate the queen for the 7th rank defense. It's a tactical move actually, queen d7, and then you simply take the knight here, and then the attack continues, and white could win the game in the long run. This is one of the variations was winning. And in the game he played knight h2. He found another way, because after rook a8 he brings the rook to e file to lift the rook to e3 and then to f3 to attack the king. So bishop to d8 was tried, and then rook e3, lifting the rook, knight to h8, hitting the queen, but now queen h6 check. After king f7, the here king to g8 could be the best way for black to defend. However, knight to h5 and then rook g3 is again it's over. So king f7 was tried, and then he plays rook f3, pinning down the knight, and he tried rook to g8. And after rook to g8, so in this position, if you want to escape, say for example, if you play king e7, then queen g7 is winning. So knight f7 blacks, and then you take the f6 knight, and then f7 knight as well. So in the game he tried rook g8, and then knight h5 was played, because the knight is pinned. So rook g6 attacking the queen, but the problem is the h8 knight is hanging, so he simply took it. After bishop e7, he plays queen h7 check, threatening the rook now. But once you move the king, you are going to lose the entire the piece. So that's why in this position Vladislav Artemiev simply resigned the game. Say for example, the king is forced to move to e8. If you go to f8, you are getting checkmated. If you want to find that sequence, you can pause the video and try to find it. And here if you play this best move, that is king to e8, then you lose a lot of material. Queen takes g6 check, and then king to d7, and then you take f6 with check, and then knight the bishop takes, and then rook takes. It's over. So you cannot do anything about this. You lost like so much of material. You down a rook, a piece, and a couple of pawns. So this is dead lost for black, and that's why, considering all these sequences, after 27th move here, Vladislav Artemiev simply resigned the game. So hope you enjoy this quick commentary on this game. Please let me know your ideas, thoughts, comments in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And still, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel called ChessVisor, please consider subscribing it. As usual, this is ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess.